If you're a small business, you might be thinking of DIYing your own website. And there are actually some decent ways of doing that these days. I even teach people how to do it the right way myself. But one of the biggest tells of an amateur website has to do with the images that non-designers, small business owners sometimes go with. Sometimes even designers will use these types of images, which is just unforgivable. So in this video, I'm gonna help you out, and I'm gonna show you the types of images you should always avoid and the general type of images you should use instead. A little later, I'm even gonna show you an over-the-shoulder look at what goes through my head when I'm choosing the right photo for a website. And for a deeper look at how to come up with all the content for your own client-generating website, and to create and launch it within days, click right up here to sign up for my free masterclass training. So there are a million places you can put images on a website, but for the purpose of this video, let's just focus on this top section of the homepage, otherwise known as the hero section. I consult businesses on their websites all the time, so I see all kinds of interesting images, let's say, that people try to put here. And at best, using these types of images just aren't helping you communicate and persuade customers effectively. And at worst, they can actively sabotage your credibility, sending people, just running out the door into the waiting arms of your nearest competitor. So let's go over what images to not use, and at the end, I'll show you what you should be using and how to find it. So first and most obviously, we'll get started with you don't want to use photos that are too small for the space they're taking up. I cannot tell you how often I see this when looking at a client's site for the first time. The pictures end up looking blurry and pixelated, and that puts you at a subconscious disadvantage right off the bat. So I recommend an image being about 1900 pixels wide for a nice full width hero section. So now let's get into the overall different types of bad images. So let's start with two closely related phototypes, both meant to show you and your business front and center. The problem here is that you want your customer to be the hero of their own story, not you and not your employees either. So those photos can come further down the homepage or on the About Us page, but I generally don't recommend putting these kind of photos in the hero section. Now these photos typically come in two flavors. The stock team members, meant to be stand-ins for your actual team. So the problem is these almost never come across as authentic. They're just, almost always posed very stiffly, and we've honestly just seen them a million times. It's basically like the jig is up at this point. These can be portraits, but the worst ones tend to be just close-up of handshakes, or board meetings, or brainstorming sessions, anything that says we're in the business of conducting serious business. And the second type here is the snapshot of actual team members. I don't always think professional shots are needed, but if it looks a little too homemade, it's probably not doing much for your reputation. So just about every smartphone within the last few years takes pretty incredible photos. So if you have to do it yourself, just take a little time with it. And I actually just got the iPhone 11, which takes really nice ones with that blurry background effect that takes the professionalism up a few notches. But again, I highly recommend putting any team photos further down the homepage or on the About Us page. They actually do serve a really valuable purpose of making your business seem like a legitimate one rather than a faceless, soulless corporation. It's just all about right place, right time. Okay, next up we have the timeless standbys, skylines, and landscapes. And a close cousin to this would be the outside shot of your building. So the problem with a photo like this is it doesn't speak to the problem you solve or how you help your customers. They can't see themselves in this. It simply says, we're located in Kansas City. Are we a law firm or a real estate brokerage? Stop asking questions and look at that sunset. The next kind of bad photo is the abstract tech. So I'm not really sure why this became such a thing, but I do see it a lot. And I think people just think it does a good job of representing complex ideas. But again, it doesn't do anything to help people understand how you can help them. It feels cold and inhuman, and we're living in a world that increasingly values doing business not with corporations, but with people we actually like. All right, next, we have clunky word forms. And this is another one that businesses tend to overuse. And my best guess for why is that they go to a stock photo site and they type in a keyword related to what they do. And one of these types of images almost always comes up at the top. The thing is, all you really need to do is find a photo that kind of illustrates that concept. In this case, people working together as a team, and the headline you put over it will fill in those gaps. But instead, what I tend to see is a photo like this with words in the actual photo. Then they'll put a headline on top of it, and it just feels very messy and overwhelming. And the second your site starts to overwhelm people, they're gone. All right, the next photo mistake is inanimate objects as heroes. So, this kind of image is mostly harmless. Like if a plumbing company were to use this in their hero, it wouldn't be actively bad, just a missed opportunity in my opinion. And still lives can be nice framed in your dining room, but they don't actively engage people in the way you want to here in the hero section of your website. The obvious exception here would be if you're selling a product, you definitely want to show it off. But even then, in most cases, you'd be better off showing a person using it. Now, while I almost always recommend what I call a happy customer photo in the hero section, there is a right way and a wrong way to choose it. Now, first of all, I want to clarify, when I say happy customer, I don't necessarily mean that you need to get a photo shoot done with your real customers. What this means is really just carefully selecting a stock image that is meant to depict your ideal customer in that happy, satisfied after state of having worked with you. But there's a very fine line between happy and the caricature of happy. So in other words, avoid crazy reaction shots if you want to make a real connection. Anything that involves screaming, fist pumping, pointing, or literally jumping for joy is more likely to give your website all the humanity of a late night infomercial. So how do you choose something a bit more nuanced and subtle? Now we're going to jump over to the computer so we can pick out 3 different photos. One for a plumber, one for a financial planner, and one for a dog trainer. And I'll show you all the things that I think about when I'm choosing, so you can look for similar things when you choose your own photos. Here we go. Okay, so here we are on stock.adobe.com. Now, there are many different stock photo sites out there. I tend to like this one for someone who's just needs a couple photos. I've got a subscription with Shutterstock. It's really expensive though. I don't recommend that you need something like that, but stock.adobe.com is perfect, I think, for most of you. So what we're gonna do is just start typing in keywords for what we're looking for. So our first test project is for a plumber. So think about, when you're a plumber and you have a happy customer, what does that look like for them? I would think the most obvious thing would be, in the bathroom. So I would say bathroom happy or bathroom smiling, something like that. So let's take a look at what we've got here. So you can see right away some of the things that I was talking about that we probably don't want. Like this woman kind of singing into handheld shower. That's a little over the top, right? And then we've got this one. I don't know, it doesn't look quite natural. She's smiling just a little too big. Same with this one over here. And then over here, so a lot of times you'll find these ones with kind of a colored background, which depending on your branding might work just fine. But I tend to go for, in most cases, something that feels a little more genuine and real. So let's go ahead and start kind of looking for that shot that we think is going to be perfect. So right away, I kind of like this one right here because it depicts a family. It's a daughter and her dad just brushing their teeth. So it's not over the top in pointing out the drain and the plumbing. It's just basically a nice little real moment that this family can now enjoy together because their plumbing issues are fixed. And let me show you what you can do here on Adobe Stock when you find one you like. You can download a free preview that you can kind of test within your website. It's going to have the watermark on it, but it lets you at least test it to know if it's going to be the one you want. So you can do that before you ever have to buy anything. So let's go and just see what else we can find. So again, over the top, over the top. This one feels a little posed to me. Same with this one. But here's another nice, family moment right here. And that's the other thing you have to ask yourself is who is your target audience? Is it married couples with a family? Is it single people living in an apartment? These are things you want to think about so that you can really choose customer photos that feel the closest rather to who your audience is. So now let's do the same thing for a financial planner this time. So if you're a financial planner, I guess at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're helping people achieve more financial peace in their life. So words I might type in just to get things started would be wealthy. I might type in the word happy too. I type in happy a lot or smiling, sometimes satisfaction, things like that to kind of get the good reaction. So I'm going to type that in and just see what we come up with. Okay, so this is the kind of image you probably don't want. This looks like it's for, a cash or a check cashing place or something like that. And then this guy is just making it rain over here. Probably not the look you want to go for. Here's kind of a really posed gambling photo. A grandma who I guess she's supposed to be wealthy. I can't really tell. I mean, the tracksuit looks expensive, but so right away, I'm kind of drawn more to images like this. This guy just kind of looks like he's doing well for himself. It's not over the top. Like boat images can be a little much in selling that. Like this couple definitely looks like they're overselling the wealth a little bit. I like something like this though. It's just kind of a nice, well-to-do couple that's not dressed in an over-the-top way, but it looks like they're just enjoying the finer things in life. And then down here, you've got more images with the same people that you might like even better. So yeah, I think something like this could work really well, or something like this even. I think that's a really great shot. It looks natural. It doesn't look like they're making crazy reactions. It just looks like they're captured in the moment. And that's the kind of image that I tend to choose for my own clients. Okay, now let's do the same thing for a dog trainer. So I'm going to type in dog owner and just see what we come up with for that. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of the same kind of things, like these really posy images against the colored background, which again, if you're going for that kind of feel, that could be fine. But what I'm really looking for is a shot of, someone with their dog where the dog is not giving them any trouble. Because if you're a dog trainer, that's what you're selling. You're selling, you bring the dog to me and I give you back a dog that's well trained. You can bring them everywhere and you won't have any problems. So that's what I'm trying to look for. And believe it or not, I think this first one right here does a pretty good job. The only thing I don't love about it is it feels a little muddy. It doesn't feel very vibrant. So let's see what else we can find. There's a lot of great images like this with people and their dogs. This is actually seems like a pretty easy one. I like this one. This one feels very Instagram-y, which is kind of a, I don't like to use that word, but it's kind of a trend right now, just to have a very natural looking image like that. I kind of like that one. I would probably stay away from anything like this one where it's just like looks posed. And I also probably want one that has the human face in the shot with the dog. Those just tend to work out better that way. So let's see what we've got. I kind of really like this shot right here. Basically, because it's got someone on a bike and it doesn't have the human face in it, so it is missing that. But I like that it's kind of making the point that now you can bring your dog out with you and it won't be a problem. So, and if you don't like this one, we've got several more that are in the same series, basically, with the same guy and the same dog. So this one's cool too, and it's got his face in it. So it's really up to you from here, but this is basically a glimpse into how I end up choosing my own photos and for my clients as well. So I have so much more to show you about what goes into a website that's going to actually generate you new clients every single day. In fact, I have my best, most in-depth ever training for you. So just click right here to access it on demand. It's called How to Create and Launch Your Own Profitable Client Generating Website. And in that training, I don't hold anything back. It is a true game changer for your business. So click right here and I'll see you over there.